I wanted to arrive on a sunny afternoon, walk into the compound, and see joy explode like fireworks. I wanted to shout, "Surprise!" I did not knock. I stood at the gate of our duplex in Lekki, the house I believed I built with 7 years of sweat. My plan was to surprise my wife, Mirabel, and my family. Instead, a tall young man stepped out beside her, laughing. He wore my gold bracelet. He held my car keys. Mirabel leaned on him like a new bride. My chest felt tight. I pushed the gate, walked into the compound, and they turned at the same time. The smile left her face. The young man stopped laughing and slid his hand into his pocket. I did not greet. I did not smile. I just asked one quiet question. What is happening here? My name is Demola, and I have a beautiful wife, Mirabel. 7 years earlier, I was a different man in a small room in Mushin, Lagos. I was full of plans and worry. I wanted a better life, and I wanted to build something that would stand in my name. I sold my old car. I took a loan. I begged a cousin for help with my visa. Every step was slow, like climbing a hill with a heavy bag. The night before I traveled, I did not sleep much. Mirabel, my wife, sat with me on the bed. She held my hands and pressed her forehead to mine. "Demola," she said softly, "God will help you over there. I will keep the home. I will be your eyes in Lagos." Her voice was calm. Her eyes were warm. I believed her. I kissed her and promised to send money for us to start our own building project. I promised to call every day. I promised to come back as a bigger man. When I reached Europe, the cold air cut my cheeks. I took the first job I found washing plates in a restaurant. I worked nights. I worked mornings. I saved every small coin. When the manager saw I worked hard, he let me take extra shifts. After some months, I took another job, cleaning offices before sunrise. The floors were long and shiny, and my back hurt most times, but I kept going. I told myself, this pain is temporary. Every weekend, I called my wife Mirabel and my mother. I called my younger brother, Sola. I sent money home. I wrote every transfer in a small brown notebook. I wrote dates, amounts, and what the money was for. Buy the Ekota land, full payment, I would say on the phone. Paid, Mirabel would reply. I will send the receipt. She sent pictures too. She sent a photo of a fenced plot with the documents in my name. She sent another photo of foundation blocks. I saved them all in a folder on my phone. At night, after work, I would sit on my narrow bed and look at the photos. I would smile and whisper, "We are moving." When I got a better permit, I added a delivery job. My legs ached from climbing stairs with heavy boxes. My breath came fast, but I did not stop. The thought of a 4 flat in Lekki Phase 2 pushed me forward. I kept sending money back home, specifying the purpose of each money I sent. Roofing, I said. Done, Mirabel would say, and sent me short video of men carrying wood. I watched it many times. There were good days. On some days, I laughed on the phone with Sola, my brother. "Brother, your house is talking," he said. "Neighbors ask who the owner of this beautiful edifice is. Tell them his name is coming," I joked, and we both laughed. There were hard days too. My feet cracked in winter. I slept 2 hours sometimes. I kept a picture of my wife Mirabel on my locker. I kept a picture of my mother too. I told myself, they are the reason I'm motivated to work hard and secure the future and invest. On one occasion, when I called my wife, I heard loud music in the background during a call. It sounded like a club. I asked, "Where are you?" Mirabel said, "At the site, Demola. A small end-of-day drink with the engineer." "Okay," I said, and let it go. I did not want to look like a jealous man. I trusted what we had. Another time, the engineer's number was not reachable. I called my wife that I just wanted to speak to the engineer. Mirabel said they traveled to Oshogbo to buy a special material. I believed because I was far away, and because trust is warm and easy, like soft bread. I kept working. By the 5th year abroad, I was no longer only washing plates. I had learned to fix small machines in the restaurant. I got a little raise. I increased what I sent home. I told Mirabel to buy 2 shops in Ikeja, rental income. She said, sealed. Sent me pictures of the paper documents. She sent a picture of a signboard that read, to let. I printed it and pinned it above my bed. That picture kept me strong on long nights. There were small cracks that I refused to see. My mother said, Demola, you are doing well, but come home small. Let us see the work with our eyes. Soon, Mama, I said, let the finishing start. I want to surprise all of you. Mirabel sometimes ended calls fast. Network is bad, she would say. Or, the plumber is here, let me call back. And the line would go dead. I told myself this was normal. Building is work. I did not want fear to enter my heart. In year 6, I sent money for a Lexus. For you, Mirabel, I said. You have carried this dream with me. She cried on the phone. Demola, you are a good man. You are my treasure. Keep the car clean, I said. We will drive to church in it together. We will cruise the town together when I arrive. I started counting months like a child counts sweets. One more winter, one more summer. I had enough saved to return and still stand tall. I bought gifts, watches, perfumes, shoes. On the day I planned to return home, I packed them with care. I kept my brown notebook in my jacket pocket. I booked my ticket to Lagos without telling anyone. Walk into the compound and see joy explode like fireworks. I wanted to shout, surprise, and hear clapping from neighbors. The plane landed at Murtala Muhammad Airport. The warm Lagos air wrapped around me like an old friend. In the taxi, I watched the city fly by the billboards. The faces. My heart beat fast. I told the driver the address in Lekki. He nodded and smiled. Big man house, he said. I smiled, but my palms were wet. I thought of Mirabel's first face when she would see me. I thought of my mother dancing. I thought of Sola running into my arms. I thought how I will properly start my own family, having kids. We reached the street. The gate was tall and painted. The walls were clean. It looked like the pictures. I thanked the driver, took my small suitcase, and stood still for a moment. My breath was slow. I could hear a song coming from inside the compound. I pushed the gate. The Lexus was there. The flowers by the walkway were fresh. Voices floated from the balcony. Laughter. A man's laughter. Then Mirabel's voice. Soft and sweet. In a way I had not heard in a long time. I stepped into the open. The young man turned first. He was confident. He held my car keys and spun them on his finger. He wore my gold bracelet. Mirabel leaned on the railing, a glass in her hand. She looked free. Too free. She saw me. The glass slipped. It hit the tiles and broke. I walked forward. My suitcase wheels clicked on the floor. My chest felt like a drum. I saw a second glass on the side table. I saw 2 plates. Not one. I saw shoes at the door. Not mine. Demola? She whispered. Mirabel's lips parted. My heart dropped, and then the front door swung open behind me, and a familiar voice said my name in a way that made the whole world tilt. Demola? I turned. For a full second, I could not speak. My throat went dry. The person standing in my doorway was Sola, my younger brother. I've heard rumors of Sola and my wife lodging in different hotels and seen in clubs together spending lavishly. The same Sola I had trusted to help supervise the building projects whenever Mirabel was busy. The same Sola who, on phone, would say, "Brother, your dream house is so beautiful. I wish you can see it yourself." And now, he stood there, wearing a designer shirt, fresh sneakers, and a silver wristwatch that looked too familiar. His eyes widened when he saw me, but his mouth didn't open. The silence was heavy, suffocating. Mirabel stepped back from the balcony, face pale, voice trembling. "Demola, you didn't tell anyone you were coming." "My heart was beating so fast I wanted to surprise you," I said, staring at Sola. "And I guess I succeeded." The young man beside Mirabel gave a short laugh, the kind that carried disrespect. "Sola," I said quietly, ignoring him. "Tell me this is not what I think." He looked at the floor, then looked up again, forcing a smile that didn't fit. Brother, calm down first. We can talk like family. But the word family burned my ears. My heart pounded as I looked around the compound. The house I had believed I built stood real, tall, painted cream and white. But suddenly, it felt strange, like it belonged to someone else. The tiles, the windows, the balcony, all real, yet all wrong. I turned slowly back to Mirabel. So, after everything, this is what I came back to. She rubbed her palm against her dress nervously. Demola, it's not what you think. I took a step forward. Then tell me what I should think. I've been abroad for 7 years. 7 years of washing plates, fixing machines, working day and night just so we could have a life. And this is what I meet? Her voice broke. Demola, please, don't please me, Mirabel. My voice came out louder than I planned. The young man shifted uneasily. But I didn't care. I sent money. I called every day. I asked for updates. You sent pictures, videos, even fake receipts. And now this. Before I could finish, my mother's voice called from inside. Demola, is that you? I froze. She came out slowly, her wrapper tied tightly, her eyes wet. She looked thinner, older, like 7 years had been 70. Mama? My voice softened. She rushed toward me and hugged me, her shoulders shaking. You didn't tell me you were coming. My son. I prayed for this day. I held her close. The scent of her palm oil and camphor filled my chest. For a brief moment, the pain faded. But then, I looked over her shoulder at Mirabel, at Sola, at that strange man still holding my car keys, and the pain returned sharper. Mama, I whispered, what's going on here? She stepped back slowly, her eyes darting around. Demola, maybe we should talk inside. No, I said firmly. Right here is fine. Because I need to know if I'm standing in my own house, or someone else's. The young man, with a crooked smile, leaned against the railing. Your house? He said. That's funny. Sola turned to him sharply. Toby, please. He laughed. But I had already caught the name. Toby. My money must be very funny to you. He shrugged. Look, man. I don't know what your deal is. But this house, he waved his hand, belongs to Mirabel. I don't see your name on anything. The words landed like a slap. My mother gasped. What are you saying? Mirabel finally spoke, her voice small. Demola, let's go inside, please. Let me explain. Explain what? I said quietly. Her hands trembled. You were gone for so long. You don't know what happened here. Things were hard, and I cut her off. Hard. Mirabel, I sent money every month. I worked like an animal just to make sure you never lacked. What else did you want from me? Tears gathered in her eyes. It wasn't like that. Sola. Don't bring me into this. Sola snapped suddenly, fear and guilt mixing on his face. I only helped where I could. Mama's eyes swung to him sharply. You? Sola, what are you hiding? But Sola couldn't meet her eyes. His head bowed, and that silence returned again, the kind that makes truth louder than words. I took a deep breath and stepped closer. Mirabel, where is the land document for the Ikata property? She blinked fast. The papers are inside. I kept them safe. Then bring them. Demola, please, not here. Bring them. The young man smirked and folded his arms. Mirabel hesitated, then walked inside. My mother followed her immediately. Sola stayed frozen. Near the door, I turned to him. Sola, you were my brother. I trusted you. He swallowed hard. Brother, things were complicated. When you traveled, Mirabel was lonely. You were always working, always tired. I tried to check on her, to help her manage the projects. I stared at him, unable to breathe for a moment. He looked away. My hand shook. I wanted to shout, to hit something, but all I felt was emptiness. You both used me, I said. You used my sweat, my pain, my trust. Mirabel came back, holding a brown envelope. Her hands shook. She passed it to me. Here, she whispered. I opened it and pulled out the land document. My eyes went to the first page. The owner's name read, Mirabel Solomon. Not Demola Solomon, just her. My fingers tightened on the paper. So all along, everything was in your name. She nodded slowly, tears rolling down. Demola, you were not here. The agent said it would be easier if one person handled everything. I didn't mean to. Don't lie, my mother cried. You meant to steal from him. Toby, the stranger, laughed again. Steal? You people should calm down. Mirabel has handled her own life for years. If your son abandoned his home, that's not her fault. That was the final straw. I turned and faced him fully, my voice cold. Say that again. He took a step closer. I said, before he could finish, I gave him a dirty slap. Sola jumped between us. Stop. You people will bring police to this house, but I didn't move. My eyes never left Toby's. Then, in a voice lower than before, I said, You're enjoying what I built, right? Good. Keep enjoying it. But know this, every wall, every chair, every tile here was paid for by the hands of a man who never slept. And now, I'm awake. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mirabel sobbed quietly. My mother held her head in her palms. Sola just stood there, trembling. I picked up my small suitcase, turned, and walked out of the gate. I didn't even know where I was going. I was so frustrated. I walked for a long time. The sun was high, the air hot, and every car horn sounded like mockery. I stopped at a small roadside stall near Chevron Drive. The woman selling drinks looked at me with pity when she saw the sweat on my face. Ogre, cold water? She asked. I nodded. My voice didn't work. I sat on a plastic chair and drank slowly. My hands were shaking. The past 7 years replayed in my mind, the nights I slept on the restaurant floor, the times I cried silently because I missed home. The sacrifices I made just to hear Mirabel's laughter through a phone. All lies. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was an unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. I picked up. Demola? It was my mother's voice, shaky and tired. Where are you? Somewhere close, I said quietly. Please, come home. We need to talk. Which home, Mama? The one I built, or the one they took? She sighed deeply. I didn't know, my son. I swear. Mirabel said everything was fine. She said you wanted it in her name. I believed her. I was just happy you were building. I closed my eyes. Mama, I'm not angry with you. You're the only one who never lied. Then come, she said softly. Because there's more you don't know. My heart skipped. More? She hesitated. Yes, about the money you sent. Not all of it went to the house. My grip on the phone tightened. What do you mean? Come to my house in Surulere, Demola. Please, let me tell you face to face. The line went silent. I sat there, motionless. The sun had begun to fall, painting the street gold. I stood up slowly, picked my bag, and walked toward the nearest bus stop. When I got to Mama's place in Surulere, the compound looked smaller than I remembered. Paint peeling, gate half rusted, children playing with old tires. Mama was waiting at the door. She didn't speak. She just opened her arms. I went in and sat down on the old brown sofa. She brought a tray of rice, but I couldn't eat. Mama, I said quietly, talk to me. What did you mean about the money? Her fingers twisting the edge of her wrapper. Demola, after the 3rd year you left. Mirabel changed. She stopped visiting me often. When I asked about the projects, she always said you were handling it from abroad. Then one day, I saw Sola driving a car. He said you bought for him. He told me it was for helping at the site. But something didn't feel right. I clenched my jaw. Go on. Months later, one of your friends came to look for me, Samuel. The one who helped you with your visa. He said most times he sees Mirabel with a guy named Toby, and was curious if she was still married to you, and that they both have a land they bought in Toby's name. What name? She looked at me, tears forming. Toby Adeniran. My chest tightened. Yes, she said, nodding. The same one you saw when you came. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. So she has been sending my money to him. Mama nodded. I didn't want to believe it. I asked Sola, but he said he didn't know much. Later, he stopped visiting too. That was when I knew something was very wrong. Silence filled the room. I felt my pulse in my ears. But my son, I have secretly collected all the documents and receipts. When I went there, Mama, I said finally, I want to see those receipts and documents, every one of them. She went inside her room and came back with a nylon bag filled with papers. I opened them. Transfer slips, documents, and receipts with Toby's name. I sat back and stared at them. My whole body felt numb. 7 years of work, 7 years of sacrifice, all gone. Mama held my hand. Demola, don't break. You can get your properties back. I looked up at her, my eyes burning. But not before I make them face what they've done. She squeezed my hand tighter, afraid. Demola, don't do anything you'll regret. I smiled faintly. No, Mama, I won't fight with fists. I'll fight with proof. Outside, a car horn sounded faintly. I stood and looked out the window. A black SUV was parked outside. Mama frowned. Who is that? I looked closer. The driver's door opened, and it was Sola, my brother. He stepped out, phone in hand, looking around nervously. Then the back door opened, and Mirabel came out. Both of them walked toward our gate. Mama's eyes widened. They're here. I nodded slowly, the pain turning to something colder resolve. I stood still, waiting, as their voices grew louder outside. When the knock came, I did not move to open it immediately, because I already knew whatever they were coming to say next, it would change everything again. And somewhere deep inside me, a voice whispered, "This is only the beginning." I stood still when I heard the knock again. 3 soft, uncertain taps that somehow carried the weight of betrayal. Mama looked at me, her eyes begging me not to do anything foolish. But I was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes after a storm, when destruction already sits quietly in the room. I walked to the door, turned the knob, and opened it slowly. Sola stood there first, his head bowed, face pale, eyes darting like a guilty child. Behind him, Mirabel clutched her purse tightly, her face swollen from crying, makeup streaked and uneven. For a brief second, no one spoke. The smell of her perfume, the same one I once sent her from France, floated between us, sharp and familiar. "Sola," I said quietly, "you're brave to come here." He looked down. "Brother, please." "And Mirabel," I continued, my voice even. "I thought I'd seen enough of you for a lifetime." Her voice cracked. "Demola, please, I came to talk. I can't sleep since you left. I know you hate me, but I beg you, just listen." Mama stepped forward, her tone bitter but trembling. "You should be begging God, not this man." "Mama, please," Mirabel said, kneeling at once. "I didn't mean for things to go this way. Everything just happened. I thought I was making the right choice." "The right choice?" I asked, folding my arms. "Tell me, Mirabel, which part of destroying me was the right choice? Taking my money? Sleeping with my brother?" She burst into tears, pressing her palms to her face. "Demola, I swear I didn't touch Sola. I only asked for his help when you stopped replying my messages." I laughed a short, humorless laugh. "Stopped replying?" "Mirabel, I called you every day for 7 years. You were the one who doesn't pick up calls most times." Sola finally spoke, voice trembling. "Brother, please, let me explain. I didn't mean to betray you. I was just helping Mirabel when she said the contractors needed quick decisions. You know how business in Lagos is. Things move fast." I turned to him. "And the money I sent? The land? The shops? The receipts that were not in my name? Were those also part of things moving fast?" He swallowed hard, but said nothing. Mama's voice broke the silence. "Demola, maybe let them talk. Sometimes truth needs space to walk in." I nodded slowly and sat on the sofa. "Fine. Sit. Talk. Let the truth walk in." Mirabel sat on the edge of the chair, trembling. Sola remained standing, his hands behind his back. She began quietly, her voice soft and shaky. "After your 2nd year abroad, things started changing here. The building project was moving slowly. The first contractor you sent ran away with some money. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to worry you. You were already working too hard. I frowned. That's true, the receipts stopped coming for about 2 months. I asked, but you said the engineer was sick. She nodded. Yes. That was the first lie I told. After that, another man, Toby, was introduced by one of Sola's friends. He said he was an architect. He started helping us buy materials. He was kind, helpful, and when we started dating, I was confused. The words hit me like a slap. I leaned forward slowly. So you're admitting it now? Tears rolled down her face. Yes. I was lonely, Demola. You don't know how it feels to wait years for someone who keeps promising to come back, but never does. Toby made me feel like I still existed. He convinced me to put the house in my name so that if anything happened to you abroad, at least I wouldn't lose everything. I stared at her in disbelief. Lose everything? You were everything I worked for. Her voice rose. And I was dying inside. You kept saying, next year. Do you know how many birthdays passed without you here? How many times I sat alone in that house, wondering if you would come back anytime soon? The room went silent. Even Mama stopped breathing for a moment. I looked at her quietly. So, that's your reason for betrayal loneliness? She nodded weakly. I rubbed my face with both hands. And Toby? The one you built with, where is he now? She hesitated. He's gone. Gone? She nodded, eyes darting towards Sola. He took the last transfer you sent, the one for the 2 shops in Ikeja, and disappeared. His phone lines went off. He changed address. He sold it. Everything. I was left with debts. That's why I called Sola to help me manage things. I turned sharply to my brother. Is this true? Sola looked like he wanted to disappear. Yes, brother, it's true. We tried to find Toby, but he vanished. The house remained, but most of the money was gone. That's why we didn't tell you. We were afraid. I sank back into the chair, my heart pounding slowly. For a moment, the room blurred. So the truth was worse than betrayal. It was stupidity mixed with greed. Mama stood with her hands on her waist, shaking her head. You all have eaten the fruit of deceit, and now all of you will taste the seed of shame. Mirabel cried harder. Mama, please. I know I've done wrong. I'm ready to return everything to Demola. I'll sign the papers. I just want peace. I looked at her coldly. Peace? You think peace is something you can return like change after market? Her sobs grew louder. Sola kneeled beside her, his voice breaking. Brother, forgive us. Please. We were foolish. We thought we were helping. You can take the house back. I'll transfer what's left of the money. Mama turned to me. My son, sometimes forgiveness is heavier than revenge, but it heals deeper. I looked at her, then at the 2 of them on the floor. My hands clenched slowly. Forgiveness? I said softly. You think this is about forgiveness? This is about justice. They looked up, frightened. I stood, went into my room, and came out holding the brown envelope of receipts and chat printouts. I dropped it on the table. You see this? I said. This is enough to bring police to this house. Mirabel gasped. No, Demola, please. I cut her off. But I won't do that. Not yet. You'll do something else for me first. Sola frowned. What? I pointed at the documents. Tomorrow morning, both of you will go with me to the land registry. You'll sign every property back to me. Every land. Every shop. Every account connected to my sweat. And after that, I paused, letting the silence stretch. You'll both leave Lagos. They stared at me. Demola, please, Mirabel said. Where will I go? Anywhere, I said, as long as it's far from me. Sola nodded slowly. We'll go. We'll sign everything. Mama looked at me, tears glistening in her eyes. You've spoken like a man, not out of anger, but with sense. I nodded, but my chest still burned. Mirabel wiped her tears and whispered, Demola, I'm sorry. I truly am. If I could turn back time. You can't, I said quietly. The only thing you can do now is make it right. She stood, her legs shaking, and followed Sola out. Mama closed the door behind them and turned to me. You did well, my son. Don't let bitterness live where your peace should stay. I sank back into the sofa, staring at the empty doorway. Mama, peace doesn't stay where trust has died. She sat beside me and placed her hand on mine. Then build new trust, not with them, but with yourself. You worked hard, Demola. That seed of honesty will still bear fruit. Her words touched me, but the ache remained. I stared at the brown envelope on the table, the proof of my foolish faith, and whispered, Tomorrow, Mama, tomorrow, we end this. But tomorrow had its own plan. The next morning, I woke up early, took my bath, and prepared the documents. Mama cooked me tea, but I barely touched it. My stomach was tight with tension. I arrived at the land registry office in Alausa. Mirabel and Sola were already there, waiting. They looked tired, defeated. The officer brought the forms. Are these your signatures? The man asked, pointing at the original deed. Mirabel nodded, eyes down. Yes. Then please sign here to transfer ownership. She signed. Sola did too. I signed last. The officer stamped each paper and handed me the file. Congratulations, sir. It's officially yours now. I breathed deeply, but just as I turned to leave, my phone rang. It was an unknown number again. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. Hello? Is this Mr. Demola Solomon? A calm male voice asked. Yes. Who's this? This is Inspector Felix from Lagos CID. We need you to come to our office immediately. It's about a fraud case involving your wife, Mrs. Mirabel Solomon. I froze. Fraud case? Yes, the voice said firmly. We have evidence that she and her partner siphoned funds from multiple investors using your building project as cover. We need you to confirm some details. My hand went cold. I looked at Mirabel. Her face had drained of all color. She whispered, Demola, please don't let them take me. I didn't know Toby was running that scam. Sola stepped back, terrified. Wait, scam? Which scam? The officer's voice came again through the phone. Sir, please report to our office today. If she's with you, tell her to cooperate. I ended the call slowly. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Mirabel's lips trembled. Demola, please. I swear I didn't know. Toby used my name for the documents. I thought it was just business. Please don't let them arrest me. I stared at her, stunned beyond words. The woman I sent money to build a dream was now wanted for fraud. Sola looked at me helplessly. Brother, what do we do? I looked down at the stamped documents in my hands, the very proof that I had finally taken back what was mine, and then back at Mirabel, who was shaking uncontrollably. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know whether to pity her or let justice finish what betrayal had started. When I dropped the phone, the world seemed to stop spinning. The air inside the registry room went heavy. Mirabel stood like a ghost. Pale, trembling, her fingers clutching her handbag as if it could save her from what was coming. Demola, she whispered. Please, don't let them take me. I said nothing. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger wearing her face. Sola stood beside her, confused, sweating. Brother, is this for real? Police? Yes, I said quietly. And it's about time. Before Mirabel could say another word, 2 plainclothes officers entered the building. Their faces were hard, their tone calm but firm. Good morning, one said. Are you Mr. Demola Solomon? So, yes, I replied, showing my ID. He nodded. And this is Mrs. Mirabel Solomon? Mirabel's lips trembled. I'm Mirabel. The officer stepped forward, bringing out a small file. You are under investigation for multiple fraud charges connected to the Lekki property scheme managed by one Mr. Toby Adeniran. You have the right to remain silent until you get legal representation. Her knees gave way. She collapsed on the tiled floor. Please, It's a mistake. I didn't do anything. I swear, I didn't. The officer didn't shout. He simply motioned to the other to lift her up gently. Sola tried to speak, but I raised my hand. Let them do their job. Mirabel turned to me, crying, Demola, please, tell them the money was yours. Tell them I was only helping. I didn't even know Toby was scamming people. Her tears fell fast, but something in me had gone quiet. I just looked at her, my voice steady, almost cold. Mirabel, I gave you everything, and you gave my life to a thief. I can't save you from what you built with your own hands. The officers led her out, her cries echoing through the hallway. Everyone in the office stared. Someone whispered, Is that the woman from the news? I turned sharply. What news? The man held up his phone, showing me an article headline on Punch Online. Lekki real estate couple, under investigation for $300 million investment fraud. My heart dropped. There was a photo, grainy, but clear enough, of Mirabel standing beside a black car, smiling. And right next to her was Toby, the same Toby who vanished with my money. I felt the blood drain from my face. Mama was right, I muttered under my breath. This runs deeper. Outside the building, people gathered around as the officers placed Mirabel inside their car. She kept shouting my name, begging me to come. Demola, please, I didn't know. You have to believe me. Toby lied to me, but I couldn't move. I just stood there watching, my heart heavy, my mind spinning with everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. Sola touched my shoulder. Brother, maybe we should follow them to the station. She's still your wife. I turned slowly to him. Wife, I repeated. A wife who stole my money? Lied for 7 years? Partnered with a fraudster? He sighed. Still, she's human. Let's at least hear her out. I looked at him, my own brother, who once helped hide her lies, and for a moment, I wanted to push him away so hard that he might fall into coma. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the time for hate. The truth was only half revealed, and I needed to know everything. Fine, I said. Let's go. The Lagos State CID office in Panti smelled of paper and dust. Mirabel sat on a wooden bench, hands cuffed in front of her, her face swollen from crying. The officers were kind, but firm. One of them, Inspector Felix, called me into his office. Mr. Demola, thank you for coming, he said, motioning for me to sit. We've been tracking a group using fake building projects to collect money from foreign investors. Your wife's name appeared in multiple transactions linked to that network. My throat went dry. But I didn't even know about any investors. I only sent money from abroad to build my own house. He nodded. Yes, and that's what makes this case strange. It appears your personal project was used as cover. The same bank account your wife used to receive your funds also received large payments from other victims. I frowned. What kind of payments? He pushed a file toward me. These. I opened it. There were screenshots of transfers, all with similar descriptions. Land purchase deposit, Lekki. Phase 2. Building materials payment, luxury flat booking. Each transaction ran in millions. Over 300 million in total, Felix said. All funneled through an account in your wife's name. And then, the trail ends with this man. He pulled out a printed photo. It was Toby, the same one from the article. My pulse quickened. That's him. Felix nodded. We believe he's the mastermind. He used multiple women to front his deals. We've arrested 2 already. Your wife may have been one of them. Willingly or not. We'll soon find out. I leaned back in the chair, staring at the wall. So, all this time, I was the bait. Felix looked at me kindly. Maybe not knowingly. But yes, sir, your money helped fund the scam. You're one of the primary victims. I laughed bitterly. Victim? I built my own downfall with my hands. He sighed. We'll need your full cooperation. You'll be called to testify. But for now, she'll remain in custody until we find Toby. I nodded slowly. Find him, I said. Because if anyone deserves those handcuffs, it's him. Outside the office, Sola sat on a bench, waiting. She told them everything? He asked. Almost. I said. They're still investigating. But it's clear now she was used. Toby scammed her too. Sola exhaled shakily. So what happens now? I looked at him. Now, we find that man, because until he's caught, none of us will sleep. He nodded, guilt still heavy in his eyes. Brother, I'll help you. I know someone who can trace accounts. Maybe we can find where Toby's last transfer went. I studied his face for a moment. You'd really do that? He nodded firmly. I owe you more than words. For the first time in days, I saw a flicker of the brother I once knew. We left the station together and headed home. The streets of Yaba buzzed with keke horns and the smell of roasted corn. But inside me, everything was silent. The kind of silence that waits before something big happens. 2 days later, Sola called me at dawn. Brother, I found something. I sat up instantly. What? I traced the last account Toby used. It was registered under a fake name, Oladele Motors Limited, but the location is real. Somewhere in Ikorodu. There's a house there. Small, but expensive. I think he's hiding there. My heartbeat quickened. Are you sure? Yes, but we can't go alone. We need the police. I'll call Inspector Felix. Good. But, brother. Sola paused. His voice dropped. There's more. One of the neighbors said they've seen him recently. And he's not alone. I frowned. Not alone? He's with a woman. A dark-skinned lady with short braids. She drives a black Lexus. Same one you bought for Mirabel. I froze. Wait, what? Yes, Sola said. He's been using Mirabel's car. My chest tightened. The Lexus, the same one I thought was gone, was now in Toby's hands. I ended the call, my mind spinning. I called Inspector Felix immediately. He listened quietly, then said, Good work. Don't move yet. We'll go there today. But Mr. Demola, I need you to be ready. If what you're saying is true, this could get dangerous. I nodded slowly. I'm ready. I've been ready for 7 years. By noon, we were in an unmarked police van driving toward Ikorodu. The roads were rough, dusty, and narrow. Felix sat beside me, focused. When we reached the street, he turned and said, That's the house, the blue one with tall fences. I looked carefully. Through the partly open gate, I saw it my car. The same Lexus, same plate number, same gold trim. Felix signaled to his men. They moved quietly, surrounding the building. And just as we were about to step out, the gate creaked open. Toby walked out, phone in hand, smiling unaware of what was coming. But before the officers could move, another figure appeared behind him. A woman. She was wearing dark glasses, a scarf over her hair. But when she spoke, my stomach dropped. Wait, Toby. Don't forget the file inside. It was Mirabel's voice. I froze. Felix turned to me. You said she was in custody. My mouth went dry. She was. He signaled for silence, then whispered into his radio. Move in, but carefully. The officers closed in quietly. Toby turned at the last second. His eyes met mine through the half-open van window. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Then he shouted, Run! Mirabel screamed. The gate slammed shut. Gunshots rang out. Felix yelled, Get down! I hit the floor of the van as chaos exploded outside. Boots, shouts, the sound of tires screeching. And through it all, I heard one thing that froze my blood completely. A woman's voice shouting my name from inside the compound. Demola, he has mama! Demola, he has mama! The words didn't make sense at first. They cut through the air, like glass, sharp, impossible, and terrifying. I pushed the van door open before Inspector Felix could stop me. What did you say? I shouted. But Mirabel's voice came again, louder this time. From deep inside, the compound roar, desperate, shaking with fear. Demola, please, he took your mother. He said he'll kill her if we don't leave now. My chest froze. Mama. The world around me blurred. Police sirens, shouts. The metallic smell of gunpowder. But all I could see in my mind was my mother. Her small frame, her calm smile, her voice calling me, "My son." I ran toward the gate, but two officers blocked me. "Sir, no, it's not safe," one yelled. I tried to push past them, but Inspector Felix grabbed my arm. "Demola, listen to me. If your mother's inside, we'll get her out. But if you rush in, you'll ruin everything." "He has her," I shouted, my voice cracking. "You don't understand. That's my mother." Felix's eyes hardened. "Then trust me. I'm not letting anyone die today." He signaled his team, and they moved fast, professional. One officer climbed the side fence, while another went around through the back alley. Inside the compound, a loud voice echoed Toby's voice, deep and full of rage. "Everyone stay back. I swear, one more step, and this old woman dies." The sound of his words sent fire through my veins. Felix raised his hand for silence. "He's desperate. If we corner him wrong, he'll snap." I peeked through a crack in the gate. Mama was on her knees, her hands tied with a scarf, a bruise on her arm. Toby stood behind her, sweating, a pistol shaking in his hand, and next to him, Mirabel, hands in the air, crying. She looked nothing like the proud woman I once knew. Her makeup was gone, her scarf half torn, her voice hoarse from screaming. "Toby, please," she begged. "Let her go. She's sick. She can't breathe like this." He didn't even look at her. "Shut up, Mirabel. You brought them here. You betrayed me." Her voice broke. "I didn't. I thought we were just going to run." "Run?" He laughed darkly. "You think I'm going back to jail?" "Never." Then he raised the gun and pointed it at her. "Then you'll die with her." I didn't think. I kicked the gate with all my strength, bursting it open. "Toby!" I roared. He spun around, eyes wide. Felix shouted from behind me, "Demola, stop." But it was too late. Toby fired. The bullet missed me by inches, hitting the metal tank behind. Sparks flew. Officers charged in immediately, shouting, "Drop your weapon." "Drop it now." Toby grabbed Mama by the neck, dragging her backward toward the house. "Stay back," he screamed. "I'll do it. I swear I'll do it." I froze. My heart pounded so loud, I couldn't hear anything else. Felix tried to calm him. "Nobody's dying today, Toby. Let her go. You can walk away alive." But Toby's eyes were wild. "Alive? You think I don't know what happens to men like me in Kirikiri? You think I'll rot there, while all of you live free?" He looked at me straight into my eyes and smiled a broken, bitter smile. "You want your mother, Demola? Come and take her." Then, before anyone could move, he pushed Mama into Mirabel's arms and turned the gun toward me again. But something strange happened. Mirabel screamed and threw herself between us. The gun went off. She collapsed instantly. Everything stopped. For a second, the world went silent, the kind of silence that follows tragedy. Then Mama's scream tore through the air. "Mirabel!" Toby dropped the gun in shock as police swarmed him. Felix kicked it away and tackled him to the ground. Officers dragged him, shouting orders, but I didn't hear them. I was already kneeling beside Mirabel. Her eyes were half open, her breathing shallow. Blood stained her blouse. "Demola," she whispered weakly. "Don't talk," I said, pressing my hands against the wound. "Just hold on." She smiled faintly. I told him not to hurt her. I couldn't let him shoot you. "Save your strength," I said quickly. "Ambulance is coming." Her hand touched my cheek, trembling. "I was foolish, but I never stopped loving you. Not once." Tears burned my eyes. "Mirabel, don't..." But her hand fell, her eyes slowly closing. "Mirabel!" I shouted, shaking her gently. "Stay with me." Felix rushed over. "We need to move her now." Two officers lifted her carefully and carried her toward the van. I followed, numb, my legs barely moving. Mama held my arm, crying. "Demola, she saved you. She took the bullet for you." I couldn't speak. My throat felt tight. As they drove off toward the hospital, Felix turned to me. "Toby's in custody. He's alive. We'll get full confession." But I wasn't listening anymore. I just stared at the fading taillights, my chest hollow. Hours later, at General Hospital, I stood outside the emergency room door. Solar had arrived. He hugged Mama, both of them crying quietly. A doctor stepped out finally, his face unreadable. "She's stable for now," he said, "but the bullet damaged her lung. The next 24 hours will decide everything." I nodded slowly, my mind spinning. "Can I see her? Can I see her?" He hesitated. "Only for a minute." I walked into the dim room. The smell of antiseptic filled my nose. Machines beeped steadily. Mirabel lay there, pale, weak, tubes running into her arm. Her eyes opened slowly when she heard my footsteps. "Demola," she whispered. "I'm here." She tried to smile, but tears slid down her cheeks. I didn't know Toby would hurt anyone. I just wanted to run away from everything. I wanted to fix what I broke. I sat beside her, my eyes stinging. "You already did," I said softly. "You saved Mama." "You saved me." Her fingers moved slowly, reaching for mine. "Promise me one thing." "What?" "Don't let your heart die because of me." I swallowed hard. "Mirabel, don't talk like that. You'll be fine." She smiled faintly. "I hope so." The monitor beeped faster, then steadied again. I squeezed her hand gently. "Rest. I'm not going anywhere." She closed her eyes. I sat there for what felt like forever, the room quiet except for the machines. Mama stood at the door watching silently, her hands clasped together in prayer. And just when I thought things couldn't get heavier, Inspector Felix rushed in suddenly, breathless, holding a phone. "Demola, we have a problem." In the dark, I stood instantly. "What happened?" He looked grave. "Toby escaped." My blood went cold. "What?" Felix nodded, jaw tight. "On the way to the station. Someone attacked the convoy. 2 officers injured. He's gone." For a moment, no one moved. The sound of the heart monitor echoed louder. Mama gasped. "He'll come for us again." Felix shook his head. "We'll protect you, but he's not far. He left something behind." He handed me a folded paper with my name written on it, Demola, in rough handwriting. I opened it slowly. Inside, in uneven letters, were the words, "This isn't over. You built the house, but you don't know what's buried beneath it." My hand trembled. "What does that mean?" Felix frowned. "We'll find out. But whatever's hidden there, it's connected to everything." I looked through the hospital window far away, in the direction of Lekki, where the house stood like a silent secret, and for the first time, I realized something terrifying, and started feeling regrets of thinking of making investments back home. The house I thought was my dream might be the key to a crime I never knew existed. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? Do well to let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories. Stay blessed.